It's always good to come here and see everybody, especially on Thursdays. We have food and stuff like that. But I was looking around at everybody when we were eating and everything. And it's kind of cool, right? It's happy. You're all sitting around eating, talking about good things that happen to you, bad things that happen to you. Because every day there's a lot of bad stuff that goes on, whether at work, whether anywhere else. And you can't get away from it nowadays. That's why it's so annoying. It's constantly in your face, being pushed in your face and everything. So, that being said, that's kind of how I want to start it. Times are wild, right? Yeah, so probably wilder than they've ever been. Sometimes it's been a little more dangerous than it is now, maybe. But we don't really see all the big dangers here. Just because there's not an army at our door in uniform doesn't mean that there's not armies all around us and everything. So, I know you see the same things that I see. And I pretend, not really pretend, but I don't let it bother me too bad. Let it show that it bothers me too bad. But a lot of things do. A lot of things are starting to. I don't like going everywhere and seeing people wearing masks. I don't like seeing caution tape around churches and stuff like that. I don't like seeing Christians shaking in their boots and being scared, being weak. And a lot of people are being weak nowadays, right? I'm talking about spiders. So you see the same things that I see. Everywhere you watch the news, you see the same news that I do. There's all these people that are conglomerating and getting money. Did you know when the shutdown happened, all the small businesses that closed, who got their profit? The Walmarts, the Amazons that didn't even miss a lick when all that happened. The billionaires got richer than they've ever been when all the other businesses closed and stuff. They're constantly pushing their ads on you. Their ads now even include you should wear the mask. In Coca-Cola, like you're a soft drink. Don't tell me what to put on my face. What are you doing? But it's everywhere. Because everything you want to watch falls under the category that the same people own. They own YouTube, they own Microsoft, they own all of this. So, they want everyone, including me, to just follow everything they say. You're looking at the phones, you're zombified, you only wear the clothes they tell you to wear, provide for you to wear. You only eat the food they want you to wear, you only eat at their restaurants and everything. They want you to be like that. So this is the world. Everything I just showed you and everything that's going on right now. This is the world that we're in. So the enemy is everywhere, and it's stronger than ever, and Christians are so scared that they want to leave that world to their children. They want to leave it for you guys to handle in the back, because right now we got to be careful. There's a virus out there. We don't want to get sick, right? So you leave that world to your children. What is that going to do? Are you preparing them to fight for it? No. You're telling them that it's big, bad, and scary too, so when they grow up, that's been the boogeyman their entire lives almost, right? So Psalms 37:35, I've seen the wicked in great power, and spreading themselves like a great bay tree. So it's been around for a long time. Now it's just not so afraid to go out around Christians and everything, because they know we ain't going to do nothing about it. We're not going to do anything to them. So what do we do? Anybody?
Resist.
What do we do?
Resist.
Resist. Have to resist.
Yep.
But resist what? Until they open your door?
No. Just
Resist until it's in your town that it's happening? What's the point, right? Where is the point of resistance? Where does it stop? Where does it start? So, John 14:6. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. Go ye therefore, and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And he said unto them, Go ye into the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. Declare his glory among the heathen, his wonders among all people. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not faint. Going together. So what do we do if we refuse? Well, I'm scared to fight. I don't want to do that. I'll come to church, but you want me to go out and do something? But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. So if we just keep it all in here, we've all got it, most of us anyway. That doesn't help those people that are going out there. For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me, if I preach not the gospel. That was Paul talking to the Corinthians. But if we accept, so we are tired of it. We are seeing everything. We do want to go out and start talking to sinners, trying to get the sinners to church, trying to get the sinners to change, to see what we have is the better option, that God is the better option for all of it, right? So if we accept and you choose to fight, if we answer the call, well, let's go to war then, right? How do we do that? Don't worry. We as followers of Christ are bound to do the will of God. It is our purpose. It is Logos. We are subject to duty. Jesus sent disciples, who created and sent disciples, who created and sent more disciples till us. Somebody had to withstand and endure and resist until the gospel got down to us. And it wasn't always very easy for them. Don't smack them in the face by just letting it die with us. Don't smack them in the face by not passing the importance of it down to the children and everything like that. They made a sacrifice for a reason, right? Because they had a cause that they believed in. But relentlessly, they spread the word, regardless. Not with violence, mostly, but with truth, with endurance, and with Logos. They did not approach it with brute force. They didn't. If you go into a town and say, I'm going to kill everybody who doesn't convert to Christian, you're going to have a lot of people say, okay, well, I'm a Christian. No, they're not. They're just saying that so you don't kill them, right? So, truly going there, they did not approach with brute force, but with tactics. So let's talk about tactics. So Sean's video, if you remember Sean's teaching from last week, he kind of told about our duty, a little bit of what we're supposed to do, and go out and talk to different people. He showed a video of a guy who was really good at it. He has a very, I'll call it malleable or adaptable plan or program, a certain set thing that he can say to anybody, like a one-size-fits-all. But it can also move with the person that he's talking to and kind of adapt into that. So I don't have as much experience going out and talking to just random people on the street about Jesus and stuff like that as that guy does. He's got a lot. But I know a thing or two about military tactics and the advantage that does that. So if you take the same strategy that that guy had, put a little bit of the military knowledge into it, you can develop kind of a game plan so we're not sitting here just lost, expecting us to do nothing and everything get better. We have to, certain time, back on the attack, but not with violence and all of that. So military tactics, going to the war room. I don't like those words. Been there too much, brings back a lot of just awful memories and everything. There's one guy in there that's going to do whatever he wants to do anyway. We shouldn't be like that. We should come together and have a plan. More like, like a good plan for the bad people coming against us, right? But this is our war room. This is where we come together to think, to plan, to strategize. So the shadow of war. This is right before war is happening. We know it's coming. You can like it or not. It is coming. Yeah, you think it's here right now. You can just wait a little bit longer. And when it never gets better, don't say I didn't tell you, right? But a shadow of war. There are a couple things to be thinking about. Definitely, a lot of things to be thinking about before you just go to war, right? One is the reason. Don't ever go to war without a reason. That's a very silly thing to do. Even if, wars have never really been claimed without a reason. Either they want something somebody else had, or somebody did something to them and they wanted punishment for it. So always have the reason. That should be the number one thing. Why are we doing this? The general target. Where are we marching to? Like, are we attacking, the broader spectrum of things? Who is the enemy's banner? Who are we going after? The target point. What exactly about the enemy are we attacking? Where are we going to attack it? Inventory and alliances. What do we have to attack with? Do we have anybody to help us? Avenue of approach. How are we going to do this attack? The actual attack itself. Determining victory, but also determining retreat. These are very important to think about before you go into battle, but I put them after the battle to make the flow a little better, and you'll see why. Post-battle assessment and reproach or repair. So let's break these down. Reason. Identify the why. Why are we even fighting? So what do we wish to accomplish with this? When you're going out on the street and you're talking to these people, or when you find yourself in a group and the subject of God gets brought up, you have to approach it with tactfully. There are a lot of different people that you can be sitting around or do this to approach them from. Like, take atheists, for example. Why are we wanting to go to war with atheists? Not a physical war, but a war to win their soul. To save them. We don't want them to go to hell. You shouldn't want them to go to hell. That should be a reason. To the non-believers, not necessarily atheists, but just people like, I just don't believe in none of that, man. I'll just get a job, religion's not important to me. To save them. To show them that, yeah, it is, whether you know it or not. To the once believers, to remind them, like, hey, God's still here. He never went anywhere. You're welcome back at any time. You're the one that's not here. It's not God. He's always been there for you. The agnostics, to help them, to show them, like, you're very close. You believe in higher power and all of that. You've just been told some weird stuff about Christianity that you can't really buy, and it's because someone probably told it to you in a very weird way. To other religions, do you want to go to them to correct them or, to get them to turn from their way? Because, not to sound like a jerk or anything, but Christianity's it. Like, sorry, all the other ones, I want you to make it, but Christianity's it. To our friends, when you're talking to your other friends, if Eric does something that I very much disagree with, how do I approach that with it? So why do I have the reason to correct them, etc., etc.? Always have the reason, have a very clear reason, not just a kind of reason. So the general target, identify the audience, right? So who are we approaching? The atheist, non-believer, once believer, the agnostic, other religions, friends. 1 Corinthians 9. So I think Sean read this last week, but Paul said something very important here and very beneficial. To the weak became I as weak, that I might gain the weak. I made all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partaker thereof with you. You must be adaptable. Like that guy, when he was talking to everybody, he was adaptable. He was approachable. He was malleable to get there. So in jiu-jitsu, when you're fighting, so boxing's real stiff and hard. Wrestling's real hard and motionful. But jiu-jitsu, the reason why they won and came in, because their strategy was you got to be like water. I think even Bruce Lee or somebody said, if you want to beat the cup and you put water in it, it becomes the cup. So it becomes the cup to beat it, right? Become all things to who you are. Not saying become an atheist or become agnostic, but you can become whatever they are, which brings us to the second one. Who are you approaching? If you're going to go to, let's say you're going into a small town, like kind of around here, and you throw on a Biden shirt and, you just walk up to some people. Yeah, you're probably not a good idea, right? And, hey, I got something to tell you about Jesus. Everybody, what do you know about Jesus? You're blah, blah. So just kind of know your crowd. If you're going to go tell some people playing basketball, don't go holding a football saying how much better it is than basketball. Just think about who you're approaching, who the target audience is. If it sounds like profiling, it is profiling. This is exactly what it is. You are profiling the people that you want to approach in a way to help them. So the target point, you have to identify the point of the person. What about this person are we fighting and why? So, very important concept you got to remember here. When you're fighting an atheist or you're fighting against another religion or you're fighting against agnostic or your friends, you're not fighting the person. You're not fighting me as the atheist or anything. You're fighting the principality. You're fighting the belief. You're fighting the unbelief. You're fighting demoniacs, which is demon possession at times. Do you believe in angels? Anybody here believe in angels? Well, then congratulations, you believe in demons by default, because that is the exact opposite of an angel. If you think angels are real, demons are 100% real. They don't look like they do on The Exorcist and stuff, but they're here, and they exist, right? So, you're not actually fighting the person, you're fighting the point of the person. If I'm going to war with Afghanistan, you don't just go and try to burn all Afghanistan down. You have points of Afghanistan that you want to take to secure victory of the whole thing, right? So, fight them because you love them, not because you hate the point. I want to go fight this person's unbelief because I love them, not because I hate unbelief. So, if the person is doing something that you disagree with, don't go try to fight them because you hate what they're doing, go fight them because you love them and you want to keep them from doing the thing that they're doing. It's an approach out of love, because I think Sean or somebody else said, sorry I'm quoting you a lot tonight, but it was like the elevator pitch. How much would you have to hate somebody to not try to save them from going to hell, or from not try to save them from doing something that you think may endanger them spiritually? So inventory and alliances. With what and who? Now that we established who we're attacking, where we're going with it, right? So what equipment do you have to assist? The equipment, you have the Bible and you have the Word. So without it, you have nothing to fight with. So that's rule number one. That is your main weapon. You have pamphlets, signs, things you can give them that they might not really care about it as much right then. But if you take the pamphlet and sit it on your dresser, some things might happen to them in a couple of weeks or a month, and then the next time they see that pamphlet that they forgot was even there, they might be like, okay, I'm going to give that a try. This guy gave me a pamphlet once, let's go to his church. Or like, oh, where would I even start? Well, this guy came and talked to me once, I'll at least know somebody if I go to him, right? Cards, anything like that. There are tools as Christians we can use. Allies. You have God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Never forget that. They will always be with you no matter what's happening to it. But you also have friends. Like if you're scared to go like a sketchy neighborhood or something, to projects, to homeless communities and stuff like that, to gypsy bands, they exist. I've hung out with a few of them. They're kind of sketchy, right? Some people might not want to go alone, so get a couple friends and go with you. In the church, if you go out and you fight 100 battles and you lose 100, you can come back to the church and not have to fight. Find sanctuary. We're here to help you. You can come back to the church to re-up, renew your spirit, rearm, to replenish yourself, to get full again. So to get re-inspired. But also, and this kind of goes back a little bit to who you're fighting and what you're fighting with. Fight fire with fire and those who have felt the fire. So if I'm going after somebody who has a problem with drugs and alcohol, like really bad, and it's getting to them, if I've never done drugs or alcohol, and the person I've taken has never done drugs or alcohol, they're not going to be able to help that much. They're not really going to have that contact point, that point of together understanding. If I've never suffered the loss of a child or anything, because I don't have children, and somebody's going through that right now, but somebody else has at my church or my friends, I should take them because they have the empathy. They have a connecting point that they can get through to them to. So same thing with, just any situation that applies to that. You have friends or Christian friends that you can take to help you relate to that. So alliances. Let's talk about alliances, because this was very true when I was in the military, and it's very true now. The Spartans really did do something like this, so this isn't just, I'm not making this up, and we still do it today in our military. So you got the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, and the Marines. Coast Guard doesn't count. Just kidding, but you see where I'm going with this? So, like the Army will talk smack about the Navy, like, why would I want to be on a boat, like full of a bunch of guys all the time and stuff like that? That's not cool. And then we all make fun of the Air Force, like, call it the chair force. Like, you guys don't do anything, you sit in offices. Like, must be nice, to not have to be in the military, but be in the military. Then you have the Marines, like, what are you guys talking about, Army? You just play military. We're out there actually doing it harder than you. And all of that's going on. So let's apply this to the sword, shield, and the bow. So you have three banners. The people who love fighting with shields, people who love fighting with the swords, or the swords, people who love fighting with the bow. So sword people are like, yeah, must be fighting behind a shield all the time. Too bad you're going to be fighting them forever because you can't ever kill anybody. Ha ha ha, a bunch of, well, you'd rather save yourself than actually destroy your enemies. And the shield people are like, yeah, well, at least we don't get hit because, you're the ones out there just swinging around crazily like a bunch of idiots and stuff. And the bow people, neither one of them like the bow people. It was like, you guys don't even fight anybody, so you just stay in the back and shoot little arrows and stuff. But then one day, an enemy comes to the city. They come to the gate. And they say, we're going to attack you, we're going to kill you, we're going to destroy everything you've stood for and everything you've built. What happens then? They all come together, don't they? Like, we can dislike each other a lot, Air Force, Navy, Marines, but if Russia, China, any enemy that comes to fight us came, We'd be very happy to see some planes flying. We'd be very happy to see some boats out in the water. We would do anything to help them, right? Because now we're united under a common foe. And John answered them, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and he followed us not. And we forbade him, because he followeth not us. But Jesus said, Forbid him not. For there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. For he that is not against us is on our part. We have so many different denominations of churches. We have so many splits in beliefs and all of that. But you have to understand, these are just different kind of banners. We have people that, want to speak in tongues and everything. We have people that are like, well, kind of maybe shouldn't do that. We have people that are like, well, none of it's real anyway. The only thing that's real is Jesus. We all agree, though, that it is Jesus that saves all of us. Like every church does. Like if you don't, then I'm not really talking about you right now. You're probably in the heathen category. But there's so many differences, but the meat of it is all the same. And yet we let little bitty, nitpicky, this and that divide all of us like that. So the only way we're going to get united is a common enemy. And you have one, whether you want to see it or not. So why are we not all helping each other together? It's crazy. Like if there was ever a time, it's right now. All banners should come together. Who is she that looketh forth as the morning, fair as the moon, clear as the sun, and terrible as an army with banners? That's a pretty scary thing to look at when you're going into war. So imagine if Christians are like, you know what, this is enough. We're all coming together. We're taking down Satan. We're fighting back against sin. We're going to put it back down. You get a Baptist flag. You get a Methodist. You get a Pentecostal. You get I'll take the Catholics if we're going to go at sin and all that stuff like that. All these flags, all these lovers of Jesus going together. Can you imagine how scary sin would be? You'd be like, oh man, I didn't know Armageddon was supposed to happen yet. I thought some more things were supposed to happen first. No, but the power is there to take it back. It always has been. Just nobody wants to do it. And I have no idea why. Look at this. That is not an army you want to go and meet up, because they're united under banners. These are the Knights Templar, the Order of St. Lazarus, a lot of different ones. And they came together and they took out some Muslims. Not saying we should go do it like they did, but they spread Christianity a lot more than people want to give them credit for. Anyway, so now that we've figured all our banners together, we know our weapons, we know our enemy, the avenue of approach. So how do we attack them? Where do we start? So to attack the differences, befriend the commonality. So you have atheists, non-believers, once believers, agnostic, other religions. Sun Tzu had a quote from The Art of War: appear weak where you are strong, and strong where you are weak. So I would argue that the best and most effective way to win a battle is if your enemy doesn't know they're in a battle. It's what we're losing against right now, because we don't even know if there's a battle going on. Nobody wants to admit that there's a battle going on, which is why we're getting destroyed until there's not going to be enough of us left to gather up and banner up, right? So that's why this is important. So when you're going out and you're witnessing to somebody, and let's say you do go to a basketball court, you go up, you don't be like, hey, all you basketball people, stop what you're doing. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, came to do that. Might work, but what would it be better if it's like, yeah, I'll play basketball with you for a little bit. Who's your favorite team? Oh, sweet, that's my favorite team too. What about this guy? Well, whatever, this guy's so much better than him. You make a friend first, right? You kind of collab on something, and then it's like, where do you guys go to church? Oh, we don't go to church. What? Like, how do you like this dude, and he's a Christian, why do you not go to church for? Now you have things to talk about. You have a way into it without just coming in, I'm Christian, and I'm here to teach it to you, or you're going to hell, and kind of stuff. There's a way you have to tactically approach it. So, and this is with friends, agnostics, others. If they don't know they're talking about God, but they are talking about God, and I'm not saying hide it, I'm not saying sneak it in, but if you're talking about basketball, like, yeah, like Eric said about one of the preachers that goes to the bridge, he was just playing basketball with him. He's like, if we beat you, you got to come to church with us. All right. They beat him. They took him to church that Sunday. What better of a way than that? Like, you just definitely won that battle, and you didn't even have to sit there and pull out the Bible and go through all that stuff. You got them into the house. That's a way more win. Now they get the full experience. So the avenue of approach, you should definitely know how you're going to start this battle. So then the battle begins while you're there. God be with you. There is no training that's going to help you like that I can tell you right now on a Thursday. So a Greek poet who had been to war, he said a very, very good quote. We still use it today. We don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. So when you're in the battle, you're going to have a few things that you have to rely on. Your discipline. How disciplined are you? Like, I'm all the time, I'm eating right, I'm studying the Bible, I'm going to church, I'm ready to do this thing. Or if you're like, oh, I went to church Sunday, now I'm going to go try to take on all these sinners. You're not near disciplined enough, especially if you're the one there sinning with them, trying to, do the gospel to them and everything. Your focus. Stay focused on God. Stay focused on the cause. Why are you there? I'm here to save you. If I'm fighting for your soul, there should be no force on this earth that can take me away from the battle and all that. Your training. Coming here. Practicing with your friends. Practicing with other church people. Just talking about stuff. Watching videos like Sean showed us last Thursday. These are all training on how to go out and talk to all these people. And expect the unexpected. Because it's going to happen. You go out to some of these atheists and you start talking Bible, I'll guarantee some of them know more Bible than you do. So how are you going to fight someone who knows more than you do and just doesn't believe it and just throws science all over it? And you don't know anything about science. So you don't even have nothing to argue back against them. So expect the unexpected, right? Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. I think Mike Tyson said that. So that is very true. Everybody's got a plan until it's go time, right? So we do not fight with swords, shields, or bows. Nor do we fight with anger or pride. We fight with charity, with love, and with patience. Have something to give them. So, we'll get to that for a second. So, we may not completely control the battle at all times, but we always control our reactions to the battle. So, let's say I go to this guy, no matter what I say, he's just like, I hate people like you who just try to go push their religion on everybody. Well, look, man, I'm doing it because I love you and because I help you. Yeah, but I hate that. Why don't you just leave people alone? Blah. Dude, it's not working, right? You control your action and go, well, fine then, burn in hell forever, see what I care. You just way lost that battle. So you might not be able to control them, but you can't control how you react to them. So assessment of victory. Determining your victory. What is considered a victory? So is it prayer, repentance, consideration, converting, if you help them, if you just make it out of there alive and they don't bite your head off? And when do you tactically advance? So what's considered a victory? If I go up and talk to an atheist who just hates God, do I not stop until they're on their knees crying, ready to give their life to God? If that's my goal going in, I'm going to fail 99.9% of the time. You should always aim big and hope for the best and take it if it comes, but that's probably not going to happen. So if you're going to someone who's never even heard of Jesus before, you expect them to just change everything about their life over some guy who just came up to them and told them a story that they've never heard before? Probably not, right? So determining victory, how do you know when you've won? If you get a person who, I used to go to church, but I don't anymore, my life's been rough, it's been really hard, and you listen to them, and maybe it's just like, well, will you just pray with me? Can I pray with you or for you? And they're like, yeah, that might be the victory. That might be all you're going to get out of that one, but you got it. So if you're talking to somebody who just, I've heard of Christianity, but I'm not really about it. I'm more Buddhist, or religion's just not really for me. You give them a pamphlet, you show them a few good points, and you're like, well, I'll go home, I'll think about it. That might be all you get, then to go home and think about it. But at least you got them to think about it, to consider it. Maybe they're looking to something more for themselves. Assistance, help. Maybe somebody's hungry. I've seen it. I've met people and hung out with them like, dude, I'm just like, I haven't eaten in a while. Go to lunch with them. Like, yeah, dude, let's go get something to eat. We can talk about some things. You don't have to be sitting there bombarding talking about Jesus the whole time. Make a friend, and Jesus is going to be there with it. You're going to show him a lot of Jesus by doing the things that Jesus would do if he was there with that guy. So, or just surviving. Just like, look, I'm going to go talk to these 3 atheists here. I just hope I make it out alive. But have the boldness to go do it. So forces are rarely defeated in a single battle. Most victories are not decisive victories. So determine what's a victory when you've won. So the opposite of that, right? Determining retreat. What is considered a point of retreat? At what point are you doing more harm than good? And tactically retreat. So somebody's like, yeah, so about God, you think God, blah, blah, blah. God's probably transsexual, don't you know? Oh yeah, if Jesus was here, he'd be wearing a mask and, holding up gay flags and stuff, and you're boiling, and your eyes are getting red, and you're shaking, and then you hit him. You lost. I mean, you didn't just lose. You did the exact opposite. Might as well have been recruiting for Satan at that point. So anger, right? And people get mad. You're allowed to get angry. Be angry and sin not. So if you start talking about it, and they're just masters at debating, and they start being like, well, what about science? And what about this and that and the other? Now you're not even talking about Christianity anymore. You're losing a debate about something else that you didn't even know you were talking about. And they're just not hearing you. They're just not going with it. You're doing more harm than good if you sit there and keep trying. You're just reinforcing their beliefs that Christianity is not the thing. Christianity's for stupid people and stuff like that. When you're losing the crowd, if a guy's really popular or the girl's really popular and he's making good points or bad points, but everybody around him's going with it, they start to surround you, close in on you. They start getting mad and throwing things at you. You're doing more harm than good by just saying there, like, just keep preaching and everything like that. If they're stonewalling you, stonewalling just means like, yo, whatever, dude. Okay, yeah, I got you. Okay, yeah, Jesus real, sure, man. You're doing no good by sitting there trying to cram it down their throat. Again, you're going to get to a point where you're reinforcing their beliefs more than you're enforcing your beliefs. But there's a tactical way to retreat. So, well, look, man, I just want to come talk to you a little bit. I love you. God loves you. Just wanted you to know that. If you ever need anything, my name's this. Here's my card, maybe. I'll be here to talk about the weird things that maybe other people won't talk to you about. Stuff like that. Because war is heck, right? It definitely is. So sometimes you can't win them all, but you don't necessarily have to lose. Retreating is not surrendering. Don't mistake the two. So post-battle assessment, your recap. You went out, you talked to somebody, and you did a really good job. They're like, you're right, dude. I used to be in church, been running from God. And they're like, I'm going to church this Sunday, man. Can I come with you? Where are you going? Like, yeah, you can come with me. Like, I'll pick you up. What went right? That would be something that went right. So just think about everything you said, everything you did. Oh, well, yeah, that was really good what I said there. I can use that. Oh, well, I didn't even know I had an answer for this until you asked it, so now I know that I got this in my arsenal now. What went wrong? Man, I really need to catch up on what the atheists believe before I go out and attacking them and stuff like that. Or, man, I did not know that about Muslims, and here I was holding a sign saying that. Now I'm kind of dumb because that is not even what they believe and stuff like that. Different things that can go wrong, but just learn about it. Where can improvements be made? So, I went and was talking to him, but I felt like I wasn't energetic enough because he seemed kind of sleepy about it. Or, I went into, a vegan shop and, I was talking about, preaching the meat to people. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said preach the meat to people in a vegan shop. That's kind of a bad idea. Different things like that. And shouldn't have worn my Biden shirt. Shouldn't have worn my Trump shirt, depending on where you are. So how do I make these improvements and use them next time? Think about that. Incorporate it into your training. When you're reading look for answers for it in the Bible. Probably in there. There's a 900% chance it's in there. So you never lose. You either win or you learn. Kind of a corny quote, but very, very true, right? So reproach and repair. The follow-up. So after the battle, after you retreat or are victorious, please don't stop there. That's not the end. Again, battles aren't won or lost in a single meeting, right? Follow up after victories. So make a friend. That should be the goal when you're going out there, is make a friend with this person. So if they're like, yeah, man, I'll think about coming to church with you. We really need to. And they don't, go talk to them again. Like, hey, guys, you have a mission this Sunday. You need a ride or something like that? Is that why you're not coming? Or you don't have to be like, you said you were coming and you haven't been here. What's wrong with you? Don't do like that. Do attack. Yeah. We're still open, man. We still love to have you. Don't ever forget that. Hit them up on Facebook. Message them. Get their Facebook. Get their phone number even if you have to. But follow up after your victory. Hey, man, I seen you been going to church now. Everything good? Oh, dude, it's great. I'm so glad you went out and talked to me. Not only is that helping them, that's going to help you. Yeah, here's my success story. The Thessalonians to Paul, right? He loved writing them back because they were doing everything that he told them about Jesus. They were doing good. But also after a retreat, if I got mad and punched that dude, I should go back and tell him I'm sorry. Even if it's not him, if it's a stranger, I've never seen him again, I should go around there and be like, hey, I know you guys might have seen me hit this dude, and I apologize to you guys. I'm just trying to spread the word. Here's kind of where I was coming from. But also, if you were going and you were arguing with somebody and you were dead wrong about it, for whatever it was, whatever got you heated and you were wrong, just apologize, move on. We got too many different banners as it is. We all got to come together in the same banner because you all are under the same banner already, whether you like it or not. So show resilience. Sometimes they're just, better at debating than you. Again, they can flip it on you. You're not really ready for it. Now you're debating something that isn't even Christianity. Go back again. Be like, hey, man, so about what you said about the dinosaurs, check this out. This, that, and the other. And it's like, what do you think about that? And like, well, I think this is going on. If they're debating like that, they just love to debate. Believe me, I know these people. They love to debate about everything. If you're somebody that you can debate about, use Christianity as that point. Debate Christianity with them all the time. Go around with it. Try to prove your point. You showing the resilience, even if you do have to retreat, and even if you kind of thought you lost, they might be like, man, this guy just keeps coming back. What keeps this guy coming back for? I don't care that much about the dinosaurs. Like, I wouldn't keep coming back trying to convince somebody that the dinosaurs were real. Why does this guy keep coming back to me about Jesus? Maybe there's something to it. You know, ultimately, make a friend. So now if you're hanging out with this dude all the time and you're going out with him, or when you see him out, you're like, oh, hey, what's up? And he's like, what's up, Bible man? Even if he doesn't believe in it, now you have a friend. Because if he ever goes home, he's like, dude, maybe this Christian thing is legit. Who can I talk to? Bible man. I see him once a week at this corner or this street or at work or something like that. Just make a friend with it. So seriously, because we need friends for what's coming. That's the quote on this one. We need all the people we can get for what's coming up. Because it's always important to remind ourselves that we are at war so that we don't start daydreaming and imagining that we're living in times of peace. Because we certainly are not. If the enemy could have it their way, they would just come in, burn all Bibles, and be done with it. Send everybody, say you can't go to church. But if they did that, at this point, there would still be enough resistance to make that not worth their while. They want people to not even know they're in a fight. As long as they'll not admit they're not in a fight. But our faith, our way of life even, is under attack. They're coming after our families. They're coming after, I don't mean just to kill them. I mean they're infiltrating from the inside, like with cartoons, with media, with stuff that you don't even know about that your kids certainly do right now. All these different channels, all these different everythings. They're coming at the kids harder than anything, and they don't even know they're being attacked because we don't know we're being attacked to teach them or to tell them anything like that. But don't be afraid. The main important thing, we are under attack. We are, I will say, for our part, losing. Churches and Christians right now, we're losing that fight because the enemy is gaining ground and they're spreading stronger and stronger. But don't be afraid. Because no matter how dark, no matter how grim it seems, no matter how evil it seems like the world is becoming and how hopeless the situation is, we are not alone. We're not alone in our own country. Everywhere. We're not alone in other countries. We're not alone on the internet even. Huh? Revolt against the modern world. Not because it is modern, but because it is evil. Thanks.